Well, welcome everybody to Three Secrets to More Richness and Radiance in Your Life and Your Business. I'm so glad you're here with us today. And I want to share with you who this is for. This is for those of you that might be frustrated with your relationship with money. You might be working way too hard for too little result. You're wanting to get to the next level of success, but you can't figure out how. You know there's something holding you back because you know that you should be more successful than you are. You're not earning your highest potential. And this is also for you if you may be showing up as a man in your work. And what do I mean by that? When we're showing up like men, we're actually forcing to make things happen. We're really working way too hard to get ourselves out there. We might be pushing ourselves and our work on people and pressuring them into saying yes for with us. And this is a more masculine way of doing your business. And today we're going to talk about a whole new way to do things in a different way that's a lot more fun. This is also for you if you feel like you're blocking your ability to receive. Now, what do I mean by that? There's a couple of things that you can. Sorry, all right. There's a couple of ways that you know that you're blocking your receiving. And the first one is if you cannot take a compliment and just let it come in without saying, denying it, kind of like, oh, no, not that. Oh, you look great too. When you immediately give a compliment back, you're not able to really let that sink in. That's not being able to receive that compliment. If people give you a gift and you're immediately thinking what you can do to give back to them in return, that is another way that you might be blocking your receiving. And if you are feeling that you have to repay someone and give back right away, you're blocking your receptivity in that moment. Now, you may be able to receive the gift and go, "Oh, thanks," but the energy, you're not fully receiving it on an energetic level. And we're going to talk about today, unfortunately, women are really bad receivers. And today we're going to talk about how to shift this. This is also for you if you are missing that inner spark or that feeling of joy and happiness inside of you, or you're feeling out of alignment with your authentic self and fulfilling your destiny. You know there's something more you should be doing, or that you're doing the work that you're doing isn't really inspiring you, or just something feels off, then you are in the right place. Because what we're going to cover today is I'm going to show you how you can awaken your feminine essence so you can show up more powerfully and bring more balance and serenity into your business. We're also going to talk about how to activate your truth detector. So you're going to know exactly what you need to do in your business. There's so many shiny object syndromes, should I do this or should I do that? And really having a way to discern for you what is your truth and what is not, or what your best direction in your business can be so helpful in running your business. And then we're also going to talk about how to turn up your radiance factor to attract the attention you really desire. And we're also going to look at improving your relationship with money and what you need to do to make that happen. And we're also going to look at what keeps you playing small and not earning the income you desire. So I really hope that you stick around with me throughout this entire webinar because I have a ton to share with you. And at the very end, we're going to talk about that number one way to awaken your radiance. So I really want you to stick through to the end. And we also have a gift for those that is worth over $200 that's guaranteed to give you a new way of looking at yourself and your business. So I really want to offer you that, and you've got to stick around to the end and to make that happen. So here's what I see happening for most women entrepreneurs is that you are really holding yourself back from greater success. And you don't know how to put yourself out there in a bigger way. You're also blocking your power and your ability to receive. And the reason this is happening for most of you in what I see with my work is that you're lacking an inner connection to your pelvis. And particularly that left side of your pelvis, as you'll learn more about why that is in particular. Because what I see is that your pelvis is the foundation of your business. And when you are connected into this pelvic space, you have a more solid foundation from which to build your business on. And I'm talking about the energetics of this space, because we have the physical structure of our body, but the energetics of this space can either be smaller or bigger. And depending on what you're working with, if you're trying to get your business to the next level, you want to make sure that you have the foundation to support that. Also, when you're connected to this pelvic space, you're able to own your power. You are living from this power center that is the most powerful area of our body. And you're also able to open up to receive more when you work with this area and live from this space. You can also increase your energetic money capacity as well. And you also have more access to your truth detector and knowing what's right or wrong for your business. And all this happens when you're connected to this pelvic space. So when you get this, you're able to exude a radiance that has people wanting to work with you. And you have the ability to attract and to hold so much more money, more clients, more love, more success, whatever it is that you're wanting in your life. It's a whole new juicy way of working in your business. And so today I'm going to share with you the 3 secrets to more richness and radiance, and how to have more of this in your life and in your business. But before I begin, would it be okay with you, I hope it is, that I share with you a little bit about why I'm so passionate about your pelvic space? Well, I am a women's health physical therapist. I've been one for over 25 years, and I have been helping women heal their pelvic space because this is my area of expertise. I've had 2 very successful physical therapy practices, and I started working just more on the physical level earlier on in my career. And while that was healing women, it wasn't until I incorporated working with the energetics of this space that I started hearing over and over again, Lynn, you changed my life. You changed my life. And I'm like, wow, that's great. That really wasn't my intention. I just wanted to help you learn how to get your energy flowing and how to activate and use this space. And wow, what a great benefit. And I found the same thing that happened to me as well. As I started connecting into this pelvic space, I found my truth. And while this space is so powerful, it really is your truth detector. And I see it over and over in all the women that I work with, that they really find out what is right for them, and what's wrong for them doesn't resonate with them anymore. And they just can't be in that non-residence. And before I started connecting into my pelvic space, I really felt like my marriage was good. We were a good partnership. We were a good team. And it wasn't until, events started happening in my life and I started connecting into this space that I realized just how much my marriage wasn't supporting me to be my full, authentic, powerful self. And so I made a really difficult decision several years ago to actually end my marriage. And I didn't want to. I really fought it. And I really tried to work on my marriage and go to counseling and did all this stuff to try to make it better. And my truth was that it wasn't right for my soul. And so I didn't want to break up my family. Here's a picture of my dogs, my dog Ashton, and my 2 boys, Austin and Justin. And I absolutely love these guys. And it was really hard for me to make that decision to end my marriage and to break up my family. And yet, looking back on it, it is the most important, the best decision I've ever made in my life. And I realize, looking back on it now, just how much I had disempowered myself and lost myself in my marriage. And connecting back into my pelvic space was one of the steps that really helped me to awaken to see just how much I was compromising myself. And so I hope you don't get the wrong message here that, if I connect into this space, my marriage might end. That's not always the case. Actually, I've had several women who've connected into this space and it actually improved their marriage because they started showing up more powerfully and their husbands really loved it. So it can go either way. And the thing is that you are connecting into a power source that helps you to show up more authentically and more powerfully. And that's really what we want. And that's what our soul wants. And this space is really your closest connection to that soul connection that we have. And so as I went through this transition in my life, my PT practice was going great. It was supporting my family, and I was able to buy my own house and move my boys into there. And my PT practice was going well, but I kept getting this nudge inside of me. It was like, Lynn, you need to be doing something more, something bigger. And I'm like, I didn't know what that was. I didn't, I had this nudge and I kept trying to ignore it, saying, no, I'm good. I just like working one on one with my clients. This is great. I'm fulfilled. And I really was. But this nudge said, no, Lynn, there's more. And so it wasn't until I took a training to learn how to work with re-imprinting your time, your birth, and your time in your womb, that things really opened up for me. And as I was laying on the table processing my birth, I knew I had come out breech, but I didn't know which way. I didn't know if I came out butt first or feet first. And as I was laying on the table, I felt my left knee drawing up into my chest, and my right leg was sticking out like an arrow as I was laying on the table. And I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I wonder if I was born feet first. And I actually confirmed later with my mom, and I was. She said, I said, one leg came out first. And I go, was it my right one? She goes, I don't know. But as I was processing that, laying on the table, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is so indicative, so descriptive of how I'm showing up in the world. I'm out there putting my work out there, and yet I'm so holding myself back at the same time. And that was that right side is that masculine of doing, and that left side is the being. And there was this like one foot's on the gas and the other foot's on the brake. And I was laying there going, oh my gosh. And there's all these examples of ways that this has happened. I wrote an article for Midwifery Today that got published. And I was so excited because it's my first published article. And when I got it in the mail and looked at the hard copy and I read it, my heart just sank. I went, oh my God, I did not put any contact information in the um, article. So as people read it, they didn't know how to get a hold of me. They had my name and my business name, but I was just making it hard for them. I didn't put my email or phone number or website or anything like that in the article. So I was really disappointed about that. And then another example is I put a video on the YouTube about 5 years ago, and it's how to massage your C-section scar. And when I put it on there 5 years ago, I didn't know anything about, how to promote a video. I just threw it out there. And that video has now gotten over 130,000 hits on YouTube. And yet I put my contact information at the end of the video, but you guys all know how the videos end and then it goes away. You're supposed to put your contact information underneath in the description of it. Well, as I learned that, I tried to go back and add it to it, but I don't have any access to that video. It's so frustrating because Google bought them out. And when I posted it on my YouTube account, and that switched with Google, and I don't have access. It's so frustrating to that video. So if anyone knows how to change that, please let me know. But as I was laying on that table and realizing that this is how I'm showing up in the world, I was able to shift that energy, and I was able to bring my left leg down and shift the energy. And I tapped into an expansiveness of energy that was beyond anything that I've ever discovered before. And it really changed it all for me. After re-imprinting my birth, I learned that I could actually work long distance with women. I learned that I could feel their energy and sense what's going on in their pelvic space. And so that helped me to realize that I could develop online group programs and get my work out into the world and work with women all over the world. And that's been able to help me to better leverage my time. And I've been more successful in my business, and I actually broke six figures for the first time a couple of years ago. And that was an amazing milestone to actually accomplish. And so I can now say I'm a six-figure big business owner, and I am living my passion. I'm doing my passion. I can say that I am actually living my divine purpose here, and it feels so good. My life is so rich. I love my work. I love my family. I have such an amazing connection to my boys, to my friends, to my family. I can truly say that I love my life. And it's not just me that this is happening for. It's also for my clients. This is Linda here. And Linda was a six-figure business owner when we met, and she wanted to double her business. And she knew that if she knew that she couldn't. She knew that she couldn't do it in the same way that she um, uh, she couldn't do it in the same way that she got to six figures in the first place. She's like, Lynn, if I do that, it's going to kill me. And so so we worked together. And when we first started working together, her right side, her masculine energy was on overdrive and her feminine energy was non-existent. And when her pelvis was so out of balance, and her energetic money container was a thimble when we started working together. And after we rebalanced her energies and opened up her pelvic space, she was able to bring in $75,000 in 1 month. How about that? How many of you would like to experience that, huh? So also, here's Stacy. Stacy's an acupuncturist, and after doing my Rich and Radiant program, she was able to increase her prices 60% in a field that she felt was very saturated, and her business actually increased. So, wouldn't we all like that as well, right? There's such a fear for us to really own our work and to put our work out there and to really charge what we feel we should. And doing this work can really help you to do that and make it easier for you. And there's so many other examples of such things that have happened to women who have done this work, healing back pain, pelvic pain that they've had for years. They're showing up so differently in the relationship. Stacy, who you just saw her picture of, she told me that she's like, yeah, my husband's not quite sure who he's married to anymore because I'm just showing up so differently in our marriage. And you know what? They both really liked it. So a lot of women are realizing that the work that they're doing really isn't their truth or isn't in alignment of what they're supposed to be doing. And so they've learned how to shift and really step into what it is that they're supposed to be doing. So there's an amazing benefit that can happen from working with and connecting into your pelvic space. So I really say that this pelvic connection is magical because when you work with the energy that's there, you can learn how to create the life and the business that you really want that serves your higher self because you know more of what you want. When you release the blocks that are holding you back and you access the power that lies in this space that's truly yours, you can show up more empowered and people respond to you so much differently. You're a lot more fascinating to them. There's something that shifts and changes in you that has people going, huh, what's she got over there? And when you're connected to yourself more, you can connect in better to others. So my big question to you is, how are you showing up in your business? And is your pelvic space supporting you or not? What is your foundation like? And we're going to explore that today. And we're going to take a look at what these three secrets are here. So before I get into the secrets, though, I just want you to know that I would love to answer. If you guys have any questions, there's a questions answer and there's a chat room. And unfortunately, I can't have both open at the same time. So I'm going to leave the questions one open. So if you have any questions, I would love to see what you're experiencing as we go through this. So please feel free to add any comments or share. You know what? I'm actually going to change that because the questions, I can't see it all. If you guys could add that to the chat room, that would really help me out. So if you could add any comments to the chat room, then I'll be able to see that and respond accordingly. Okay, so please share what you're experiencing. So our first secret is the key to your richness and radiance lies in your pelvic space. So like I said, this pelvic space is the foundation for your business. And the reason you might not be as rich or as radiant as you like is because you're not as connected to this area, or it may be smaller or just not as supportive as you would like it to be. And so what I love about this work is that your bowl, I call your pelvis a bowl. If you think about it, it kind of looks like a bowl. Your bowl shows you how you're showing up in the world and what's going on for you. And as you learn to work with this area and this energy, you can shift how you're showing up in the world. And so the first thing we need to do is actually take a look at and see, what does your bowl look like? And so we're going to do a little visualization here. So I invite you all to just close your eyes, or if you want to. And there's a couple of ways you can visualize. If you've visualized before, then you'll get this right away. And if this is new to you, this might be a little bit more challenging, but I just encourage you to give it a try. You can actually visualize by feeling inside your body what your bowl feels like inside, or you can visualize and see what your bowl looks like outside of your body, like if it's being held in front of you. And there's several different ways that you can kind of perceive this information. You can actually see something. You might hear a word or two pop in, and that's kind of your intuitiveness kind of sharing with you what's going on. Like you might get lopsided or small, or something might pop in a word wise, so you might hear something. You may just know. You may just know what your bowl looks like. Some of us have this knowing ability, and then you may feel. You may feel a certain energy or for a certain feeling might pop up for you. So just play with this and just see what opens up for you as we kind of dive in and see, what does your bowl look like? So just take a deep breath and just bring your breath and awareness down into your pelvic space, or you can kind of bring it outside of you, in front of you, and just visualize, what kind of bowl do you see? What is your bowl made of? What does it look like? What color is it? Where do you get drawn in your bowl? Do you get drawn more, if you were to ask your bowl, where do you want me to focus in on? Do you get drawn more to the left, to the right, front, or back? And how deep are your walls? Do you have a deep bowl or is it a shallow bowl? One girl I was working with, actually, her bowl, her money bowl, looked like a collection plate, at church, kind of almost like a communion, like that holds the little wafers, if any of you guys are Catholic. So that's what her money bowl looked like. And you can have bowls representing different areas of your life. So you can have a money bowl, you can have a relationship bowl, you can have a business bowl or your work bowl. And those bowls can show you what's going on in those different areas of your life. So just focus in on right now on your general bowl, or you can say, okay, what's my money bowl look like? Or what's my business bowl look like? You can choose whichever one you want to focus in on and just see what you sense or feel. And if you want to share with me what you're noticing in the chat box, I'd be happy to comment on anything. But different parts of our bowl means different things. So I want you to see, is your bowl smooth and round, or does it have any cracks in it? Does it have any holes in it? One gal I worked with could not see the entire backside of her bowl. Her front part of her bowl was totally there and fine, but the backside was gone. And when I explained to her that the whole backside of your bowl is all about having support in your life, she said, "Ugh, well, that makes sense, because I don't feel like I have any support with anything in my life." And so, while what I know is that form follows energy, and while you can definitely, she could create that support in her life. Yet when you have the energy there that is actually, that support energetically, that support comes automatically and naturally. So you don't have to work at it or force things to be there to support you. And so working with this energy of the space and actually, bringing that support in, there's something that happened sometime in her life that bowl, that support went away energetically. And so you got to dive into that and kind of dig around and figure out, what is it, a limiting belief that stopped that, or is it an imprint that we're going to talk about here in a little bit? There's some reason that bowl is not there, and that's part of my Rich and Radiant program, is really going in and figuring out how to remodel your bowl and how to shift what's showing up in there, so that you can then inhabit this bowl, because it's in living from your bowl that you are more centered, you're more grounded. I liken it, what I find a lot is that women are standing on top of their bowls. So it's like they have saran wrap on the bowl and they're standing on top of that bowl. And then you are at the whim and mercy of everything that's going on around you. It's like it affects you so much more. Your kids throwing a tantrum and you get caught up into that tantrum. People get angry at you and you get lost in their anger. What happens when you can take that saran wrap off and learn how to live in the bottom of your bowl? you are able to be in the eye of the storm. So you can be in that calm, centered place as all heck is breaking loose around you and you aren't affected. It's such an empowering place to live from. And that is my joy and my pleasure, is helping women to learn how to live from the bottom of their bowls. And yet what I know about our bowl is that our bowl is also it's a storage house. All of our unprocessed emotions and traumas and energies get stored in this pelvic bowl, in our pelvic space. And so it can lead things to be a little bit gunked up in there, and it can lead to lack of clarity. It can lead to not owning your power. And so many times those traumas, those events that have happened to us have caused us to abandon this area because it doesn't feel safe. And yet what I know is that when you bring your presence back down into your bowl, that is your protection. And so it's my joy to help women to heal from those traumas, to release the energy that's being held in this space so that you can reclaim this area as yours. And so I invite you, before we do our next exercise, I just invite you to tap into, what does the energy of this space feel like in your bowl? What do you notice in the energy? Is it, okay, Karma, thank you for answering. Karma has a big salad bowl, but it's broken on the right side. So the right side of your bowl is your feminine side. And masculine, I'm sorry. Right side is your masculine side. So I'm curious, Karma, if you have any issues with getting your work out into the world or claiming your work. That broken on the right side means that there's not the structure and the foundation for you to build your work or to hold your work in this world, to be able to put it out there. So there's something that needs to, you're saying yes, great, thank you. So I tell you, that's amazing when people show whatever shows up in their bowl is exactly what's going on in their life. And when you learn how to work with this energy, you can shift that. You can reclaim and make that foundation on that right side so it's not broken, Karma, so you can have a more solid foundation to put your work out into the world. So I invite you to go back down into your bowls and just check out. I'm sorry, let me tell you a little bit about the bowl. So the right side is about your masculine side. So that's about putting your work out into the world. The left side of your bowl is about your feminine side. So that's about being able to receive and bring in and nurture yourself, and to awaken that intuition inside of you, and to access your creativity. And that's your ability to just be in this world. And so many women have blocked off that flow of receiving and nurturing themselves. And so if you're having any issues or you're noticing things on that left side of your bowl, that's usually what that means. The front of the bowl is all about fear and letting go. And then the back part of the bowl is all about having support in the world. So if you're broken on the back left hand side, it's about having support in receiving. The back right side is about having support to put your work out into the world. So noticing where you're having issues in your bowl can give you more information about what's showing up and why it's showing up in your life. So I invite you to tap into the energy of the bowl. What does your inside of your bowl energy feel like? And if it feels nice and calm and peaceful, then great, that's what we want. If you're feeling a little chaos, a little heaviness in there, feeling just not that, if it's not feeling calm and peaceful, then it's a great time to really clarify your bowl and to clean it up. And so we're going to do this next exercise, which is all about sweeping. We're going to sweep your bowl and we're going to clear it out. And for some of you, sweeping might actually feel a little too harsh. So you can actually use a rag or a cloth, or you can use water, or, whatever feels right for you as far as cleaning this bowl. And we're going to imagine ourselves a small little being in the front of your bowl by your pubic bone in the front. And we're going to go around clockwise. And I just invite you to imagine yourself sweeping or using a rag or using water, whatever you need to clear the energy down to the bottom of your bowl. We're going to imagine that there's a drain that's opened up and allowing that all to flow down into the ground. So it's going down your legs and down into Mother Earth. We're going to let Mother Earth take care of all this stuff. And we're just going to sweep out whatever's willing to be released. We're not going to force anything here. And if you get to an area that feels really resistant, like it doesn't want to let go, don't force it. Just allow it to be there. And then let it know that you know it's there. Make a mental note of where it's showing up in your bowl. If you think of your bowl as a clock, like what hour is it stuck at? And then just move on. And then as you get back to the front again, recheck back in with your pelvic space. And what do you notice about the energy there? Be curious if any of you wish to comment in the questions area. What do you notice that's different? And, if you don't notice anything different, that's okay. Just keep working with this and keep connecting into this area. Some women have a really hard time even connecting down into this area, and that's okay. But know that it's there for you and that you can keep working with this and trying this out. In fact, this pelvic sweeping exercise is a great exercise to do every day, especially late at night before you go to bed at night. Or go to sleep in bed. You can do it while you're laying in bed and just sweep out the day's gunk, the activities, the events that happened in the day, and know that you don't have to hang on to anything, especially if you had a really negative interaction with someone or you had a really challenging day with the kids. Just sweep that energy out and let it go. You don't need to store it anymore. So know you can do this exercise anytime, any day. So just going to check and see. And feel free to add any comments or questions as we go through this. I'm curious what you guys are finding and seeing. All right. So usually people sense that there's more calm, there's more peace. It feels lighter in their bowl after they've swept it. So know that that's what can happen as you connect in and do this. Great. So let's move on to our second secret. The second secret to greater richness and radiance is to awaken your feminine essence. And your feminine essence is all about helping you to awaken to what inspires you. And that inspiration can come from, being creative and awakening any creative juices within you, whether that's with art or music or dance or gardening or any other kind of creative arts that you feel inspired to do. That feminine creative essence has really not been valued in our society because we're so production oriented. It's like, what did you do today? What did you get done today seems to be more valued than what did you create or how were you? How did you be today? Asking what did you do today by answering it with, well, I just beed is not very valued in today. It seems like it's a waste of time, but yet that doing those types of things is really what can help awaken our feminine essence and allow her to shine. And a lot of us women have kind of we've put all that aside, thinking that it's not valued, it's not valuable to us. And yet what I want you to learn and to understand is that that is a part of filling ourselves back up. That's ways that we can nurture ourselves and awaken this energy that can then help support the doing part of our work and putting our work out there. So one of the ways that we can work with this feminine essence is to help understand what's going on in our ovaries. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have not even thought about your ovaries unless maybe you have a little pain during ovulation. And then you might think, oh, I wonder, that might be my ovary releasing an ovum there. But the ovaries can really show you how you're showing up in the world, because on an energetic level, your ovaries can show you what's going on. So sometimes we want a nice, plump, juicy, energetic ovary, but a lot of times our ovaries are either shriveled up like a raisin, or they're overextended like a balloon, or they're totally absent. And what we want is to be able to, if we're shriveled up, we're blocking our energy. If it's absent, we're not mindful of the energy. And if it's overextended, we're overusing that energy too much. And on the left side, that represents your feminine, and on the right side, it represents your masculine. So if you have the most common pattern I see is an overextended left ovary, meaning that you're over nurturing everybody else, and you have a hard time bringing in nurturing for yourself. I had one client that came to work with me, and she had a very overextended left ovary, and she was a mother of 7 daughters. And she was such a beautiful mother and very involved in her daughters' lives and taking care of them. And yet her left ovary was so overextended, and she wasn't able to receive and nurture and bring in for herself. And as I made her aware of this pattern, she became aware of it, but she didn't choose to continue to work on shifting this pattern within her. She didn't choose to say yes to herself and nurture herself by doing more work with this. And so what I know is that we kind of reflect, we attract to us who we are. And if you aren't saying yes to working on you, you're going to have a harder time getting people to say yes to working with you as well. And so if you're having issues with people showing up and people saying yes to working with you, then I would really encourage you to take a look at where are you saying yes to yourself and nurturing yourself. Because I do know that when women learn how to shift this energy and bring this energy in and really own it and nurture themselves, they show up so much more powerfully. So the more that I've learned to say yes to myself and take care of myself and invest in myself, the more my work has taken off and I've been able to, take things to the next level. So when you can shift this ovarian energy, you can really shift and open up the flow of energy to be able to receive more and to nurture yourself more in your business. And the biggest thing that I find is that most people don't have their left and right ovaries connected. They're living two separate lives in there, and they don't know how to blend and merge this feminine and masculine energy. So a lot of times, if you're not receiving and nurturing for yourself, then you're doing your work without being filled up, and that right ovary gets depleted. And that's when we're leading towards burnout. So when you can balance these energies and work on having the left bring in and fill up and then offer that support of that energy to the right side, then you can do your work more sustainably. And it's way more fun because that left side is about inspiring you and bringing in energy and doing your work in a whole new way. So that's all about our ovaries. Now, our other fabulous organ that we have down in this pelvic space, women, we are so lucky that we have this uterus. And I hope that you will see that this uterus is way more than a house for us to bring babies into this world and from which we bleed from each month. This uterus is actually a spiritual gateway. It is our closest access to the divine. It's what allows souls to come into this world. And it's also a very transformative space. It can take 2 cells and create a baby. So think about the power that is in this organ. It's also our creative center. So whatever we're holding in the center of our pelvic space, in our womb space, is what we're going to be creating in our life. So we need to be very mindful of what it is that we're holding in there. And this uterus is truly our truth detector. And it can help you to discern what's in your highest and best good. So if I have a decision to make, I always place it down into my womb space and see what my answer is on that energetic level. My womb will tell me yes or no. Once you learn how to discern what the energy is saying, it's a clear picture. I was sitting next to this gal at this conference, and the speaker had just made a huge offer of a big investment for you, to invest in your business. And this gal was sitting next to me, And I could just feel the energy spinning in her head as she was trying to decide, oh my gosh, should I do this or not do this? What should I do? And I could feel that energy, just, that monkey mind. She was on that hamster wheel. And I just, kind of leaned on, like, hey, can I share a secret with you? Can I share my work with you? And she's like, sure. And I said, I can tell that you're really struggling with this decision. Can you just bring the idea of doing this program down into your womb space and see what happens? And she noticed that the energy just grounded down into the earth, and she just relaxed. And then I said, can you imagine not doing, take the idea of not doing this program and put it in your womb space, and what happens? And she's like, everything shriveled up and like went up inside of her. And she's like, oh my gosh, that is so powerful. Wow, that is so clear. And that is what can happen when you have access to this space. But the problem with our uterus for most women is that we have too much holding energy or releasing energy. So the uterus has cycles to it, right? With our menstrual flow. And with our cycles, there's a holding, a building up of energy, and then there's a releasing energy. And sometimes women have too much of one or the other. And so you can be holding on too much. And then you can't ever get your work out there. So that's for those of you who are still trying to get your websites together, your business card. I can't do my work until I get this done or this done. You never find that you're done. You're constantly fiddling with it. And then the other side of that is for those of you that might be your excessive releasers. You give too much energy away when you release. And that is for those that give their power away. They let others take credit for their work. And what we really want is to be able to hold our energy, create what we want, and then release it and put it out into the world. Now, some people worry, well, what if I've had a hysterectomy? Or what if I'm no longer menstruating? It doesn't matter if the organs have been physically removed from the space, the energetic capacity of these organs are still there. So you can still work with the energy of these organs in this space. So, and if you're no longer currently bleeding, um, you can still, these organs still need a releasing time. And so it's really important to have a ritual of some sort of release and letting go, because our menstrual period, our cycle is a time of release, of letting go, of releasing old patterns and limitations that are no longer serving you. So it's a much better way of looking at that menstrual cycle when you think of it in those terms versus that, here I go again. So know that we all need this sense of release, and that we have this built-in cycle that is within us. And even if you're not flowing, because you're in menopause, you can still access a release cycle that could be tied into the moon cycles. So know that that's a possibility. So in my Rich and Radiant program, we work really closely with this whole pelvic space, and we work with understanding the ovaries and what they're trying to tell us. And we work with harnessing the power and potential that lies in that uterine space. You learn how to access the full vibrancy and potential of the energy of the space. And this increases your radiance, and it helps you to truly shine in your life and business in a balanced and more sustainable way. So I just want you to think about, have you guys ever seen a pregnant woman and you know how she just shines? She just radiates, right? That's because her uterine energy is being activated by carrying that baby. We can all access that energy when we bring our attention and our awareness to this uterine space and allow it to access that energy fully. And that's what I love helping women do in my programs. So this uterus, we've also talked about how it is a truth detector. You can place your questions, your concerns. I place my fears in there, and then I just see how it shifts and changes things. So it's very powerful. Let's move on to our third secret. The third secret to more richness and radiance is that your blocks to your success lie in your imprints. Now, what do I mean by that? The imprints are from our time in the womb, from our birth, from our ancestors, and from our childhood. We have all these imprints, and these imprints is an energetic marker or energetic print in your energy field that limits your ability to be yourself. And so the great thing is that you can clear these imprints, and they don't have as much impact in your life. these imprints go way deep, so much more deeper than your beliefs. A lot of people work on, believe our blocks lie in our beliefs, which they do. And so you do need to work on releasing your subconscious and unconscious beliefs, which I have a really simple, easy way to do that I teach you in my programs. Yet these imprints go so much deeper, because when you work with the imprints from the time in the womb, this is when you're developing. So these imprints actually go into your DNA. And we work on releasing these imprints and how to shift their impact on you so that you can show up more authentically as you. One of the most common imprints that I find in the womb space is the imprint of saving the world energy, is what I call it. This is the saving the world imprint. And so what I want you to know too, people are probably thinking, what, time in the womb? How do I could never remember what happens back then. But your body and your tissues do. Our body is timeless. It doesn't remember, it doesn't know that you're however old you are today. Everything that happens to you from your conception actually is impacting who you are today. And you can go back and shift that energy, and your body remembers. And so you can tap into what it was like for you in the time in your womb and re-imprint it. And so this saving the whole world imprint happens when if your mom did not feel safe or secure when she was carrying you, maybe she wasn't healthy, or maybe she wasn't in a good relationship, or she wasn't feeling so secure about being pregnant. All that impacts you as that baby, and your survival depends on mom's survival. So if mom's not going to survive, or you feel she's not going to survive, you're going to give all your energy to mom. You're going to try to help mom be okay so that you can survive. Well, mom's your world when you're in the womb, and you've set up that imprint of, I need to save the world. So you're born with this imprint, I've got to help everybody. And what needs to happen is shifting that imprint and letting that go, and knowing that you are only responsible for you, and that mom is responsible for her own life. And you can shift that energy, and then you just shift that energy of having to save everybody. Let me tell you, it feels so good to let that go. There's so much energy and so much effort to do that. And so there's so many different imprints. I wish I could talk about them all today, because I love talking about this, but I'm just amazed at how much even our birth imprint, how we were born. Do you remember Linda at the beginning of this webinar who made $75,000 in 1 month? She was, when she was in the womb, her dad really wanted a boy. And so she actually could feel, as she was being born, the entire right side of her body like resisting coming out into the world. And so she had learned how to turn off her feminine because she wanted to show up more masculinely for dad. And that's exactly what she did in her life and in her business. And it wasn't until we were able to release that birth imprint that she was able to access and have an easier flow of working with her feminine energy. Now, she could still have access to it even if she didn't change her birth imprint, but it would have taken so much more effort and energy. And when you release this imprint, it just allows it to show up so much more easily. And you don't have to think about it. You have access to it. Energetically, it's there. There's no more resistance. And that's the power of these imprints. We also have ancestral imprints. So from our ancestors, you may look back either on your dad's side or your mom's side and look and see, did mom have this issue that grandmother had, that great grandmother had, and that knowing that imprint is being passed along from generation to generation. And that is limiting who you are today. And there's a special exercise that I help you do to help clear that imprint so that that's no longer affecting who you are. So when you shift these imprints, it allows you to show up more authentically as you, and you're no longer carrying or dealing with your ancestral or your parents' baggage, so to speak. So let's talk a little bit about this rich idea. Because when people think of rich, they think of money. And I want to be rich, I'm going to be, full of money. And what I know to be true is that richness actually comes when we can be more real, more inspired, more connected, and more heartfelt. And when you are these four things, you are healing yourself, which can then heal your money issues. Money is just a symptom, it is not the issue. You have to heal yourself first, and then the money can come in. In my last program, in the first week, after one woman just learned how to connect into her pelvic space, she got a raise in her job, and she was able to heal a situation with her older adult kids that was saving her a lot of money each month. So all that happened in the first week by just saying yes to herself, committing to doing the work, and tapping into her pelvic space. And so it's amazing what can happen when you do connect into the space. It has so much to offer there. And I wish I could share everything that I knew about this pelvic space with you, but I really want to try to keep this to an hour. And so that's why I've created my programs, is to help women really learn how to access the power and the potential that lies in their pelvic space. So we've talked about a lot of different things today. I've tried to offer you as much information as I can in the short time that we are together. And I want to just share with you what we've talked about. We've talked about how the pelvis is your foundation of your business, and how it's also a storage house for all your unprocessed events and emotions in your life, and how clearing this up can really help give you greater clarity and your ability to hold more in your life, whether it's more money, clients, success, or whatever. We've talked about how your ovaries show you how you're showing up in the world, and how balancing out these ovaries can bring you greater ease and flow and joy and help you to avoid burnout. We've also talked about how your uterus is so powerful, and that you can harness this energy to transform what's really limiting you. And it can help you find your truth and really claim your value that you bring to the work that you do. And we also talked about how the imprints are holding you back and limiting your ability to show up more powerfully as you. And so, what I know women need for greater success in their life is a greater connection to your pelvic center. You also need an inner radiance that helps you to attract the right attention, to draw in the clients and the money and the success that you're really wanting in your life. And it's also helpful to clear out the emotional garbage that is getting in your way, and also the imprints that might be getting in your way. And it's also about having better relationships with yourself and with money, so that more money can flow into your life. And so, whatever you showed up for wanting out of this webinar, I hope you get this one thing. And that is, your connection to your pelvis is really a magical, magical place. And when you have this connection to your pelvis, you can have greater success, a stronger foundation from which to build your business on. And so I want you to just imagine yourself. Imagine knowing the right direction for you to take in your life and your business at any moment. A decision is easy for you to discern which way to go. Imagine being in your power and allowing this energy to expand fully, so that you're really making an impact with your work, and you're serving and sharing your work with thousands, if not millions, of people. How would that feel? To some of you, it might feel really empowering and like, yes, I'm ready to do this. I get this, and I'm going to go do it on my own. And for others of you, it might feel a little bit scary. But what if the fear wasn't there? Imagine being able to show up more authentically as you, free of any of your parents or ancestral baggage, and you get to just be you. How would that change your life? How would shining your brightest and sharing your work and your gifts with the world in a much bigger way change your life? So I invite you to see where you're at right now in this moment, and how you're showing up today. And where do you really want to see yourself in a year from now or 5 years from now? How long is it going to take you to claim your power, to claim your work, and get yourself out there in a much bigger way? What if you could have that reality in the next 60 days? How would that change your life if you were able to be more authentic and show up in your power and claim your work and know your truth? How would that change your life? So, for those of you, you might be all gung ho to, yes, I'm going to go live in my pelvic space and I'm going to go do this. And for others of you, you're like, Lynn, my pelvic space, what? And if that's your case, then I would love to offer you a gift. And before we go to this place, I want you to know that we're going to come back to the slideshow here because I do want to talk about the number one way for you to access your radiance anytime, any place. And we're going to talk about how to do that in just a minute. But before we do, I'd like to offer you an invitation here. And if you could go to the chat box and click on the link that I just put into the chat box, or for those of you that don't have access to it, if you want to open up a new web page, you can go to rebirthyourradiance.com/invitation. I invite you all to show up or to join me on this page. And here's an opportunity for you that I would like to share with you. And if you're someone that is dreaming of having a happier, healthier relationship with money and clients flowing easier to you, and you want to attract that, have that special inner glow that attracts the right attention to you, and you want better ease and flow and grace in your life and business, and a more powerful connection to your body and spirit that can confidently guide your decisions, then I'd like to invite you to scroll down to the bottom of this page, and there's a free Rich and Radiant strategy sessions that you can sign up for. And for some of you, if you're feeling drained at the end of the day and your visions for what you know is possible for you, but is not matching up to your reality today, you know that you have that success is right around the corner, but yet you can't reach it for some reason. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to step into the awesomeness that is truly you and claim it fully. And there might be a block that is stopping you from doing that. And if you're frustrating when you are doing everything that you know you should be doing to get to that next level of success and yet nothing's happening, then I invite you to sign up for this Rich and Radiant strategy session. Because when we get together, what's going to happen, this is a time for you and I to get together one-on-one. And I'd love to do a free energy reading with you. And we'll take a look at what's going on in your pelvic space and what that's showing you. And then I can give you steps that you need to take in order to get to that next level of success, in order to shift the energy in your pelvic space so that you can show up and have more richness and radiance in your life. And so if any of this resonates with you and you are really wanting to open your receiving channels and get to the next level of success, I invite you to sign up for a strategy session with me. I'll give you my time and attention to see what's going on for you in your life, and we'll take a look at what's happening in your business, in your life, and see where you might need to turn your focus and what steps you need to take to get you to where you know you should be at to have greater success in your life. So I please invite you to only sign up if you're 100% committed to growing yourself and your business and you're serious about doing what it takes now to make things happen. I only have a limited number of these sessions, so if you're interested in this, please sign up today. And what will happen is you'll get a questionnaire sent to you, emailed to you, and once you fill out that email and email it back to me, I'll be calling you to set up that discovery session where we'll be talking over the phone and I'll do my free energy reading for you. So if all of that resonates with you, I just invite you to scroll down to the bottom of this page at rebirthyourradiance.com/invitation. and put in your name and email, last name and email and phone number, and hit the apply now button. I would so look forward to supporting you and seeing what your energy is doing in your pelvic space and how that might be supporting you or not. So if you could join me back on the webinar we will continue on with our, there's the page on the rebirthyourradiance.com/invitation. And we're going to talk about the number one way to access your radiance anytime, any place. And this is so much fun because it's really all about tapping into your pelvic space, if you haven't already figured that one out. But there are a couple of things that you need to focus in on. And that is before you go into a big meeting, before you give a presentation or a networking event, or you're even talking to a potential client, I just invite you to breathe down into your pelvic space. And just breathe down into your womb space and recognize the power and the potential that lies in this space. And know that you're activating this space, this energy that is within you, that creative energy of your uterus. And as you breathe into that space and you're connecting into it, you bring that energy up into your heart space. And you connect the two hearts in your body. In Chinese medicine, the womb and the heart, the womb is actually the second heart in the body. And you can even put one hand on your heart and the other hand down right above your pubic bone, and just breathe down into your two hearts and connect those two. And you can also do a little pelvic tilting where you tuck your bottom underneath you and then you stick your bottom out and you just rock this pelvic space back and forth, because this activates the circular energy in your body that helps activate your feminine essence and your feminine energy. And so by bringing your attention and awareness down into your womb and connecting it with your heart and getting this energy flowing within you before you have any of those special occasions of networking or presentations or meeting with a client, that is a way for you to access your radiance anytime, any place. So there you have our webinar. Thank you so much for being a part of this and listening in. If you have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I will stick around and answer any questions that you might have. Please feel free to fill out the form on the rebirthyourradiance.com/invitation and apply for a strategy session with me, and I'll give you my free energy reading and help you to see how you're showing up in your life and in your business. So if there's any questions, please join me, answer them or ask them in the questions box, and I'll be happy to answer those. And I so look forward to hearing how you are increasing your radiance and your richness in your life.